In the 1980s, I went to finishing school, John Robert Powers to be exact, and esteemed alumni include Jacqueline Bouvier Kennedy, Marilyn Monroe, Diana Ross, and Lucille Ball, to name just a few. So I knew I was in good company. And I learned so many things about social graces. I was always into that, but social graces that I knew would help me in my life. How to walk correctly, how to enter a room, my entire presentation, how to speak, and how to treat people. And today, I'm sharing a few of the basics that I hope will help you in your everyday life. In today's times, femininity is looked at as a weakness, and being feminine is not being weak. We compliment men, we compliment their masculinity. And sometimes, though, we have to work, we have careers, we run businesses, we take care of our families, and on occasion that requires that we tap into masculine energy. That said, it does not take away from your femininity. It just lends to tapping into the softer side of your strengths. So here are a few tips. Number one, control your emotions. Now I know that's easier said than done, but we have to control our emotions. And the first thing, don't be ashamed of your emotions. They happen, they are a part of you, but we have to control them. We do not want to let our emotions overtake us and cause us to make bad choices, to respond incorrectly, saying something that we will later regret, or even make a choice that we have to suffer the consequences for. Two, do not be reactive all the time. Not every action deserves a reaction from you. It causes you to match that negative energy or whatever is happening around you, and it's not going to do any good. It's only going to elevate that negative situation. So you don't have to react, but remain calm if you can. Calmness and even silence repels chaos around you quite a bit, and it shuts the mouths of the negative speaker or whatever the situation is that's going on in your environment. So, it's really good to remember that. And I have to remind myself that. And when I put that into action, I find that my peace has not been interrupted by whatever is taking place. And also reactiveness, that's a very masculine trait. And so you don't need to do that. It's not your place to take that on. If you react in a bad way, you find that it has done no one any good. It has not done you any good or anyone else around you. So rushing energy. When you are in a hurry, you're running late for work. You're running late for an appointment you had. Plan ahead, because that keeps a calmness. You have less anxiety. A good example is if you are running late for your place of worship, you're running late for your job, you are running late for that flight because you left home late. That's a really bad habit. And that's something that I'm even still working on. But it's a bad habit because it creates so much anxiety. And your femininity is being attacked because now you have to hustle and run. You feel embarrassed. So it's just best to, just not have that habit, because it is a very rude and bad habit to have. Number 4, soften your tone of voice. And what I mean by that is being so loud and boisterous and yelling all the time so that you can be heard. Now, I don't mean if you just naturally have maybe a higher voice, but even then you can just bring it down a little bit so it's not so overbearing, because you do not want to appear that you're angry or that you're fighting to be heard, to let your voice be heard. It's more respectful and it's more feminine. Now, sometimes there's situations where you need to raise your voice to get your point across or to get something done and accomplished, with your children, or if you are leading on an assignment or something like that. Sometimes you have to elevate your voice, but just in general, that just should not be the way. You don't want to be seen as someone who is just very loud and boisterous, but you want to be cool, calm, and collected. And that's not always easy, but that's something that you can put into practice. Life is not perfect, but being loud and boisterous just does not help anything. Being more calm lets you see the situation better, and your anxiety and your femininity, you're not pulling in on that masculine energy. You want to always remain who you are, and that's a beautiful feminine woman. Next, your vibe, your entire vibe. If you've been watching these videos, you know that I really promote a positive mindset, because that helps you to feel better, and you always present yourself in the best possible way. And you should also show gratitude, even when things are not perfect, which they will not be, but just show gratitude for everything. You woke up today. If you're frustrated, there's always something that you can see in that you can work on, or that you can bring some light to the situation. Gratitude is indeed the attitude, because it really helps. And that's something that I put into practice quite often. There's a lot to be grateful for. You want to smile more. Sometimes some of us, we have what they call resting face. And resting face is not an excuse to look like you're frowning, because your face can be at rest without looking like this, because that's not inviting. That looks like you're upset. It looks like you think you're better than other people. It looks like leave me alone. Even if that's not what you mean, and the majority of the time that is not what you're trying to project. For example, I remember being in middle school, in high school, and even today sometimes people say, you're really nice. When I first saw you, I didn't think that. And I'm like, oh, what was my face looking like? But you can, if your resting face is a part of you, which it is, I'm not saying or suggesting that, cut out who you are. You've got to be smiling like this all the time. That's impossible. And honestly, it looks kind of Stepford, and you don't want to look like that. But I try to practice resting face now, instead of just being like a downward rest. Just, a rest. You don't have to show teeth, and just go about your business, because that's still more inviting, and it promotes your eyes to smile. I promise you, your eyes smile. Your eyes do what the rest of your face is doing. If you're frowning, that looks so sarcastic, and leave me alone. You don't want to look like that. So feminine women, we project light and positivity and beauty. You don't want to look angry. That's just something you don't want to do. Another beautiful part of your entire vibe is your posture. That's your first presentation. Okay? When you walk in a room, you don't want to slouch. You want to have your shoulders back, your chin up. Okay? You're proud. You're proud of yourself. You should be proud of yourself. You're proud to be a woman. And you greet people. And I promise you, people pay attention to that. You know, I had someone compliment me. He said, and he was not flirting or anything like that, just a very nice man. He said, "You have such good posture." You know, I've seen that. And that's really nice. And I was like, it just makes you feel better. It helps your back, but it helps you to feel better about yourself. And just as you're walking through the grocery store, shopping, wherever you are. So have that good posture. Don't slouch. And also with that, please do not sit like a man. We sit with our legs. If we are crossing our legs, your legs should honestly almost look like one leg. No matter how you're crossing them. And you do not sit like a man with that leg on top of your knee. No matter what, you do not sit like a man. We're not men, They shouldn't see she's got that leg on top of that other leg like a dude. No. Now, this is something that people have a lot of problems with because they think that they are going to project the idea that they're self-centered or that they are greedy, or conceited. And this is not. And this is something of accepting compliments. It is okay to accept a compliment. And when someone compliments you, you do not have to reciprocate that. For example, if someone says, "You look so nice in that dress," or "You look so pretty today," you don't have to say, "Thank you, and you do too." You don't have to say that because they're giving you a compliment, and it's okay to accept that. In fact, when you auto reciprocate with another compliment to them, it seems really disingenuous, like a knee-jerk reaction. So it's just best to say, "Thank you so much. I really appreciate that." And then move on. It's okay. You also do not want to talk down on yourself. If someone gives you a compliment on a dress or an outfit or something that you purchase or that you're wearing, don't say, "Oh, girl, it was cheap. It's nothing. I've had this for a long time. It didn't cost much." You don't have to downplay the compliment that they gave you. Just accept it and say thank you. Because actually that's insulting to them. They gave you a compliment and you pushed back on it and said that it was nothing. So that's just a really bad habit. And we all do it sometimes. I mean, I don't remember the last time I did that, but I know I've done it because you think it's being humble and it's being more kind, but it's not being humble. In fact, you should just say, "Thank you so much. I appreciate that." Allow people to be kind to you. Allow them to compliment you. Allow them to give you gifts as long as they have the correct motive for giving you a gift, because people love being nice. Deep down, where it says there's more happiness in giving than receiving. It makes people good to give a compliment. When I give someone a compliment, I always mean it. I don't give fake compliments. So if I don't give a compliment, it's because I didn't see fit that I should give it. But when I give a compliment, I want you to receive it because I want you to feel good. And so that's how we should be, Yeah, just, it's okay. It's okay to receive kindness from people. Doesn't mean that you're arrogant or conceited or expecting it. Being a feminine woman, you're going to get compliments all the time. And it's okay that people recognize you and just take that compliment. And being mega independent to the point where I don't need anybody. I don't need anybody to do anything for me. I don't need their compliment. you know? I know what I look like. I don't need them. That is so masculine, and just honestly, it's got to make you feel very hard inside, you know, which is masculine, tough. We don't have to act like we don't need people, and that doesn't make us weak. You know, we're still women. We still have strength in our femininity. Doesn't mean you're weak. Some in society has programmed a lot of people into thinking that femininity is being weak and you're being a Stepford. That's not. You're being a lady. You're being yourself. You're being your genuine, authentic self. So, you know, it's okay to need people. I need my friends. I need my family. I need my husband. But it doesn't mean I'm weak. It just means I appreciate them and what they bring to the table and how they make me feel. Okay, so that's okay. Now, this may be a little touchy, and I don't mean it to be. And it's something that you have thought about, and most of you are already applying. I'm certain of it. Embrace your feminine appearance. You know, just that starts with personal hygiene. You want to make sure you are clean. Make sure you take a shower or a bath, whichever you prefer, every day. Now, sometimes people have physical limitations and ailments where they can't literally take a shower or a bath. But there are ways to cleanse yourself. You know, there's different things that they have in place, you may have in your home, to keep yourself clean, and change your undergarments every day. Even if you are bedridden, you want to do that because it will make you feel so much better. If you're sick, getting up and taking a shower or a nice thorough cleansing makes you feel better, even if you're going back to bed. And it keeps you feeling feminine and soft and just, you know, your best self that you can possibly be at that time. So make sure you do that, and wear clothes that fit and flatter your body type. Just because something is in your size doesn't mean that it is appropriate for your body type. So, you know, you want to bring your best appearance to the table. You don't have to be flashy and come with all the expensive and have everything tailored and all of that. You don't have to. Just try things on, wear garments, wear outfits, pants, dresses, not too tight, nicely fitting to your physique. You know, make sure of that. I'm going to have further information on that topic on another video, but that's very important because that contributes to your self-esteem. Because if things don't fit, you're constantly pulling at it and hoping that no one is saying something about your outfit, because you don't feel good in that outfit. You don't feel good in that dress. You don't feel good in those pants. And that's why you're feeling that way. So from the start, just make sure you wear clothes that are proper for your body type. No bonnets, no bonnets, no bonnets outside of your home. Bonnets are meant for the inside of your home, not outside, not going to the grocery store, not going to the post office, honestly, not even going to your mailbox. At least that's how I see it, because it's representing you, and you don't want people to assume negative things about you. Now, if you just have to rush and there's emergencies and things, but even still, you can throw a hat on. There's just something about, today it's almost like bonnets are like a scarf or a necklace. People get them in multiple colors for the outside. And I go to the grocery store or the mall, and I see someone with a bonnet on, and it just hurts my feelings because they're not really respecting themselves, walking around with a bonnet on, with their hair unkept. It takes 1 minute, not even 2 minutes, to just brush. You can even pull it back in a ponytail. But please, I am almost begging, do not walk out of the house with bonnets on. That is not a fashion accessory. It is a necessity for when you get out of the shower or when you're going to bed at night. You're wearing a bonnet so that the pillowcase does not pull and tug at your hair and rip it out. That's what that bonnet is for. It is not for going to the mall. So we're going to let the bonnets go. You want to show pride in yourself as a woman. You want to feel good about you. Forget about what other people feel about you for a minute. Let's just not even care about that, because honestly, this whole thing is about how we feel about ourselves. You want to feel your best. And walking out of the house with a bonnet on, it's almost a way of hiding yourself. You don't need to hide. Show people who you are. That bonnet is just not. And I'm not making fun of anybody. It just really almost hurts me to the core, because I really hate to see the young girls. They're learning that it is okay to wear a bonnet to Walmart, or to go get me some lunch or whatever. No, it's not okay. Just put a baseball cap on if you need to do that. That's okay. Now, if you're going from your house to the car to the hairdresser, sometimes you're going to have a bonnet on. I don't, but that's almost unacceptable. That's like the only acceptable time to have that bonnet on outside of your home. And that's the honest truth. These things that we've discussed are not about being shallow and conceited and self-centered. It's about loving yourself, showing respect for yourself. Because if you don't love yourself and show respect, you're not setting the standard of how others should treat you. The way we treat ourselves, we're giving people permission to treat ourselves bad, to treat us badly, if that's how we're treating ourselves. But when we treat ourselves with respect and we show up as our best self, we command, we do not demand. We command respect from people. She's always put together. She's always coming in. She's like, she's smiling. Even when it's like a bad day, she's not taking it out on everybody else. Bring your best self always. And I promise you, you will feel so much better about you. And that's what I want everybody to feel. And, I look forward to doing additional parts to the femininity conversation, because it's really important today. I see so many young girls and they struggle, and they don't have the proper advice, because the videos and even, social media, they're giving them wrong information. But, adults, us like me, who've been through that time, your teens, 20s, even 30s, I learned from the choices that I made before. I was always very attentive. I'm pretty conservative, so I was always attentive to how I dressed. But just different choices, attitude, and things like that. It's just good to have these reminders. So I look forward to talking to you guys again about this. And thank you for just taking a moment and stopping by. As always, I really appreciate you, and I hope you have a good morning, afternoon, and evening, wherever you are in the world. Be good to each other. Be kind. That's all we can ask for, and it makes our situations a lot better. So you guys take care, and I will talk to you next time.